Somebody made a comment, and Austin just showed me the comments, and they said, well, what will you have to barter with if when things go down or whatever? But really the only thing you have to barter with are your skills. And so if you don't have any skills, you can't barter. So if something happens and money is worthless and you don't have any gold, you better be able to do something, like maybe some kind of a skill. And if you went to public school, too bad. Sorry about that. But I'll have food. So anyway, we're going to talk about the gold. Now, you got to take this with a grain of salt, because this is only my theory, and it's just one theory. There could be others out there. So what I'm about to tell you, you know what I mean? Okay, so they say there's gold in Fort Knox. After all, when they confiscated the gold in 1933, they didn't have no place to put it, so they built Fort Knox. And that's where they stored the gold. Well, how much gold? Theoretically, what they say, what they admit to, is there's about 5,000 tons of gold in Fort Knox. But nobody knows, because it's never been audited. They've never let anybody in there to independently verify the gold that's in Fort Knox. Now, one time, if you remember back when Eisenhower became president, well, see, the Democrats had been in charge for 20 years. And then Eisenhower, Republican, he got in, and he wanted to, the very first thing he did is he wanted to do an audit of Fort Knox to see if the gold was still there. And so he ordered an audit, and lo and behold, the people in charge of Fort Knox, they set the rules for the audit. They said who could be there. They said how it would be done. Nobody could actually physically touch the gold. And so this supposed audit was done in the 50s sometime. Okay. Then the Federal Reserve also owns or holds gold on behalf of the United States. And they hold about twice as much gold as the Fort Knox does. I don't know why they have the gold or what the reasoning is behind it, but they have gold, supposedly. They're holding it on our behalf. And so they have probably about 9,000 tons of gold, somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, something doesn't, the bell's not ringing right here. Because if we had that much gold, and the vast majority of it the United States bought at $25 an ounce, maybe $70 an ounce, $100 an ounce, and now gold is up to $1,800 an ounce. That means that theoretically the United States would be 18 times richer than we were before. So why can't we pay off the national debt? It seems to me like there should be a balance sheet when you're talking about the national debt. You've got $15 trillion in debt. Well, how much assets do you have? And if your assets are 15 trillion, then your balance sheet shows zero. Well, if we were in such bad shape a few years ago, and gold is worth 18 times what it was then, well, what happened to it? How come that's not figured into the equation? And that's not to mention the silver reserves that we have, the oil reserves that we have, the other commodities that the United States stores and has gone up in price. So I'm saying that I'm going to call bullshit on this one. And somebody's math is not right. I mean, I went to public school, but I excelled in math. And I can say that here, 2 plus 2, when the government does it, doesn't equal 4. So what happened to the gold? Well, this is done now. This is my theory. You heard, I mean, you know, they have these programs on these documentaries on the Discovery Channel and other channels, and they talk about ancient aliens. Well, first of all, why would, like, the Incas be mining gold and stockpiling gold? Why was gold so valuable to the Incas? They didn't have a clue. I mean, what should have been valuable to them was food. I mean, they were all about surviving this winter. And so those should have been the important things. They can't eat gold. So my theory is that aliens came to Earth and they need gold. They use it for something. I'm not sure what. I think it's some kind of a fuel. So that they use it and they use it up. So they have to replenish it. Well, so where do they get it? It just so happens that Earth has a lot of gold. And so they come to Earth to get the gold. Well, pretty smart guys. They figured if we can get those people to mine the gold for us, and we'll give them paper dollars for it, and we'll store it in some place where nobody can see it, they won't know if we took it and used it. So, I mean, after all, what happened to the Inca gold? Remember, the Spanish came in and raided the place, and they had rumors about caves that were stockpiled with gold and stuff, but they never found it. What happened to El Dorado, the city of gold? I mean, there were lots of people looking for it. They're still looking for it today, but they've never found it. Because I'm thinking the aliens took it. They used the gold, just like we use oil. We're addicted to it. They're addicted to gold. So that's just, you know, my theory is that there's no gold in Fort Knox or in the Federal Reserve or in China. Now, what happened? Does China have a Fort Knox? Supposedly, China has about 10 times as much gold as us. And but nobody knows where it's at. Nobody's seen it. Nobody can verify it. Even if they let you into Fort Knox and they showed you these big pallets with these bars of gold on it, well, you don't know that it's gold until you do an assay test on it. And they're not going to let anybody do an assay test. So anyway, that's just one man's opinion, one man's theory. Okay, next Wednesday we'll do another one. I don't know what it'll be about. I'll ask Austin what he wants me to do. Talk to you later.